I'm not a lawyer, and this is not legal advice. Quick caveat, apologies if my tone is direct. I've been told by my wife and my kids, most especially, that when I'm talking pure facts, I remove emotion from the way I talk, and it sounds really mean. So apologies if that's coming off that way. It is not the intention. Hello. We're doing something a little bit different today. It's not the traditional Fybe check, but I found it important to make this video and kind of just have it be its own dedicated video. So I guess you could consider this the Fybe check for this week or whatever. But we need to talk about IP infringement, copyright infringement, and what we're doing moving forward and how we're going to handle it and kind of just all of it. First things first is you need to understand this is not an us issue. It's not a vendor issue. It is a legal issue. Selling fan art, for the most part, is copyright infringement. That is illegal. I know it sucks, just how it is. The question then arises, how does Etsy and other places get away with it? They don't. The long and short is they don't. Folks that are caught on Etsy selling fan art without proper permission and or license, the post is removed. And then if you continue to do it, typically your account's suspended and then I would say probably banned. The reason Etsy doesn't get in trouble is they have a DMCA agent. That is a legal process that the folks filing the DMCA claim submit it to their DMCA agent, and then from there, Etsy is responsible for taking down the posts. It's a similar system to YouTube. YouTube has something for automated checking for like audio and video to see if the music that you're utilizing in the background is copyrighted. That's why a lot of times if you're using copyrighted music, you'll get a notification upon the upload. Where this comes into play, we are little. It's just Rachel, and then kind of me. We don't have a lawyer, not yet. We've been in talks with lawyers for various things. No one is on retainer. We don't have a official lawyer on staff. We do not have a DMCA agent, which technically doesn't need to be a lawyer, but that's something we want to look into. However, safe harbor laws are interesting, and this is where it comes into why we've had to put the messaging out that we have and why we need to remove the postings that are out there now. We've recently educated ourselves, probably should have done this sooner, on more specifics of the safe harbor laws and the DMCA. Part of it is you can't knowingly allow it on the website, which creates complications for us manually reviewing and approving everything. If we manually approve it, we do so knowingly that it's copyright infringement. So we can't do that. That's why we're going back and removing them. So I know it's frustrating and we apologize for the confusion. We apologize for the frustration. We think fan art is extremely important, but we need to stay within the bounds of the law. There is no ETA on what's next as far as are we ever going to be able to sell fan art. Realistically speaking, a legal answer is no, because that is illegal unless you have proper permission. There are at least some artists who have been approved as Fybe vendors who do have the proper licensure permission to create specific art for specific IPs. Not going to go into detail on who those vendors are or what those IPs are. If you know, you know. Another thing I want to touch on is public domain art and IP. I think the best example of this is Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh is technically in the public domain. That's why there's a Winnie the Pooh horror movie. However, Disney still owns the copyright. I think it's Disney. Still owns the copyright for their version of Winnie the Pooh. So technically, you can do your own rendition of Winnie the Pooh and be absolutely fine. You cannot do their rendition. It is not up to us to do the research on what is and is not available in public domain. We need to trust that you guys are submitting things that are legal and within the bounds of 1, the law, and 2, our terms of service. Let's do a quick recap. Selling fan art of IPs that have an active copyright is illegal. Therefore, we cannot allow it on our site knowingly. Because we approve everything manually, we would be knowingly allowing that. We cannot do that. Therefore, everything's being removed, and we're not going to approve anything that falls into those categories. If you have permission, make sure that is readily available. If you have a license, make sure that's readily available and posted in your listening. At the end of the day, Fybe is here to support artists, real human artists, and everything that means while staying within the bounds of the law. We thank you guys for your patience. We thank you guys for your support. The amount of support that we've seen since the vendor go live, it's been incredible. I'm excited for the customer go live. We're excited for the customer go live. It's going to be insane. You guys are nuts. This is beyond anything that we either one of us were expecting, in a good way. So here's to the future, and thank you guys for your understanding and your support. Have a good one.